Often nowadays we hear about how something is rare and therefore it is endangered, or it is common and therefore it is not endangered. These terms rare, common, very rare, fairly common, they are a bit confusing because they refer to how often a human being comes into contact with a particular creature, not necessarily how common that creature is in nature. There's a story about how when Alexander of Macedon, after he conquered a part of the Punjab and defeated King Puru, he called a council of wise men and wanted to know, among the questions he asked, was which is the cleverest animal. So one of the wise men replied, that which has not been found yet. So, well, that makes a sensible reply. So the cleverest thing is the one that manages to evade attention. Now, when in the 1800s and 1900s, there was a lot of butterfly collecting on the Indian subcontinent, and based on records from that time, assessments were made. To clarify the point about how a butterfly might be common in nature, but it's called rare because we don't know where to look for it. Here is a case of a butterfly called Bibasis anadi, the plain orange owlet. You see here? Anadi, the plain orange owlet. Northwest Himalaya, Mussoorie to Assam, Siam. R means rare. At Mussoorie, rare, one taken May 27, 1868 by Colonel Lang, another example taken there by the writer. The writer was Peel, Colonel Peel, who collected in Mussoorie around 1915. So this species was known on the basis of two examples from Mussoorie, about over there. And even in the collections of the British Museum, which hold the best collections in the world, this is Brigadier Evans, 1949. He says, British Museum, 1 male Mussoorie, presumably Colonel Lang specimen. 12 males, 1 female Sikkim, 1 male Assam, 5 males Burma, 6 males, 2 females Siam, which is Thailand. So this butterfly occurs from Mussoorie along the Himalaya to Thailand. So it was a very rare butterfly, not only rare but very rare, because there were only 2 known examples from the Western Himalaya. One day back in 1990, I was sitting on our veranda with a friend at dusk. So it was so dark that you couldn't see the mountains, but the sky was still lit. And suddenly we noticed against the sky there was some butterfly or moth bobbing around about 12 feet, 15 feet off the ground over the hedges. In one place, circling up and down in the same place, patrolling a beat. So I took a net and I went and got it. We looked at it. It was Bibasis anadi. By the time we had looked at it and identified it, neither of us had any experience of this butterfly because it was so rare. We looked up again and there was another one over there. Same place doing the same thing. Could it be something else? So I took the net again and went and got it. I looked at it. Yes, it is Bibasis anadi again. And there was a third one over there. And when I took the third one, then there was a fourth and presumably a fifth and a whatever. Some years later, that was 1990. Some years later, I decided to check on them again. Okay, this was in August 1990. Right? So they fly in May and in August. And 4 years later, the same thing happened again, 23rd May 1994. Collected one. There was another one there immediately, collected that, another one was there immediately. You see, this guy's had a bird attack it. Collected that, another one there immediately, and more and more and more. And in 1999, they were there again. So this butterfly is actually common. It is so common that you can collect a whole series within half an hour. The reason it is rare is because it doesn't fly the whole day. It only is active for a week at the end of May and briefly in, when was this? September. A small brood in August, at the end of August. In May and August, for a week perhaps, they will only fly for half an hour. The rest of the 23 and a half hours of the day they sit hiding somewhere. And because we don't meet them during those 23 and a half hours, we call it a very rare butterfly. But you see, it is, if you know where to look for it and you're there at the right time, it's a very common butterfly. And in fact, the only way that if you collect one, another one pops up, and you take that one and another one pops up, is when the whole area is covered with them. And each of these chaps are males, and they're all patrolling beats. And it's like that mobile phone game, you know, the candy something, where you take out the lower layer and the next layer falls in. So they're spread all over the territory. You take one out, the other one comes in. You take that one out, another one comes in. So they're extremely common. So rare and common are merely a statement about how little we know about the creature, not necessarily about its status in nature.